Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 14th of July and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis. So guys, in the today's video, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper. So Bhanu, Radhika, Tanushri, Ronak, Pallavi, good morning everyone. Now guys, first of all, before starting up, I would like to remind you that basically I will be using an explainer PDF which will be available on the Telegram channel. You can download this explainer PDF from the Telegram channel and you can refer it while we'll be discussing this article. Fine, the link for the Telegram channel has been given in the description box. Now, before starting up, first of all, let's see the overview of the entire newspaper in order to understand that which articles are going to be important for the today's newspaper. So here we have the page number 1. Ranil becomes acting president as Gotabaya flees to Maldives. Okay, so guys, we see that the Sri Lankan crisis are going on. Okay, and into this particular thing, the presidential palace was also stormed by the protesters there. Okay, so basically, the president, fine, he has fled. So this is the development. However, with respect to the UPSC, nothing is important. You don't need to track everyday developments, not relevant for your exam. Then cannot impose omnibus ban on the demolitions the Supreme Court. So guys, basically we see this thing that the a kind of a key word is being used, that is the bulldozer justice. Opposition parties are saying this particular thing, that particular communities are being targeted if they are protesting on certain issues and their houses, their homes are being bulldozed. Fine, so there was a petition that was made in Supreme Court that there needs to be the ban on such kind of demolitions, but Supreme Court said that we cannot bring a blanket ban because there are the illegal encroachments also that are going on. So this is such a kind of a thing that is going on. However guys, in this particular direction, much important academic substance respected to the UPSC is not there. Fine, just the political allegations on both the sides have been given. Free precaution jabs at the government centers from tomorrow. Okay, so we find this particular thing that the third jab can be availed for free. However, again, no need to go in this particular article. Nothing is contained for our exam. Now this article is important. India ranks 135 out of 146. Global gender gap index has been released. So we'll be finding this particular, we'll see the findings and we'll see with respect to exam. After that guys, city section, we find that all these tender information, advertisements, etc. are being given. Nothing is important. Then the same thing continues. So guys, moving on. After that guys, just one as a case study in one line, you can see this particular thing, that the Kerala mission to provide 20 lakh jobs. So guys, the Kerala Knowledge Economy Mission project has been taken by the Kerala Knowledge Economy Mission project. Under this Kerala Knowledge Economy Mission project, government will aim to provide the 20 lakh employments. And guys, right now we see that the joblessness is a very big problem. Is it clear? We have seen that right now, according to the periodic labor force survey 2020-2021 that was released, joblessness is beyond 4%, 4.2%. So in this particular direction, such employment generation programs are important. However, you don't need to go in detail and read line by line clause because the program is specific to one state. Just we can give the reference again, Kerala's Knowledge Economy Mission project. Fine, moving on. After that guys, can't ask mother to choose between child and career. So this is a family dispute going on between a husband and wife, and the wife wanted to take the kid to some another country and the husband had said that she should not go. Fine, so the high court had simply said that if the mother wants to take the child, she can. Fine, but that's it, nothing more important. Then coming to the editorial page. So guys, editorial page, the first article here, staying watchful, it talks about the inflation. Fine, it is giving the data with respect to the inflation growth as it is going on, the numbers where the inflation is reaching. Okay, so guys, the article is majorly talking about the trends with respect to the inflation, that how inflation has basically increased into the past few days. Okay, however, again, one thing very importantly you need to understand guys is that you just don't need to track these numbers because every coming month this inflation data is going to get changed. So we need to see this particular thing, that right now inflation is going on. What is the reason behind the inflation? Reason behind the inflation is that been into the pandemic, the countries pumped a lot of money into the economies so that the economic revival can happen. Even in India, the Atmanirbhar Bharat Abhiyan was started where 20 lakh crore rupees were to be pumped pumped into the economy. The same thing happened into the entire world. Fine. So when so much of money was pumped, it brought inflation. Obviously, in India, inflation also came because of the fact that the basically Russia-Ukraine war is going on. Fine. Many of the critical items, they are having a kind of a shortfall. Crude oil is increasing. Okay, the price of oil is increasing, and as everything is transported by that, much of the things are transported by the trucks, etc. Fine. The transportation has become expensive. Inflation is there. Okay, fine. So however, the article just contains numbers, not that important. Fine. After that, in Sri Lanka, no quiet after the storm. So it is talking about that protest that is going on into the Sri Lanka. Then the below article, India South Korea bilateral partnership, a very good article with respect to the international relation. We are going to see this particular article, a good article. Two in trouble. So the DMK needs to get a house in order to mount challenge to DMK. Political article. Then guys, moving on, the president is not a mere rubber stamp. Fine, we'll see this particular article. Some good references has been given, and as now the presidential elections are to be held. Fine, so for that particular thing, again, this article could be important for this year's exam. Sputnik 5 conundrum. So guys, basically this particular article talks about the Sputnik 5 issue. Fine, so actually what happened, there were some people who got vaccinated by the Sputnik 5. Okay, now the Sputnik 5 has not been recognized by the WHO. So the people who got vaccinated by Sputnik 5, their status is that they are not vaccinated, they cannot go to any foreign country. Okay, now basically this, there is a kind of a thing that is coming, that okay, who got vaccinated by Sputnik 5, they should be allowed now to get vaccinated with some another kind of vaccine. Okay, so that thing is being discussed. However, again, for exam, not important article. Then we have the text and the context page, and guys, on to the text and the context page, basically what has happened, there are the 5 images that have been sent by the James Webb telescope. These are the high resolution pictures of the universe. Okay, so basically the article is discussing about these 5 pictures. Okay, just telling that okay, first picture, second picture, what they are showing, and then there is some very generic information, fine, which is given. Then guys, on Tiruvananthapuram, then and now, fine. So these books are there, fine. They are showing that how the city has evolved, fine. Nothing important. Then guys, moving on. After that, in this particular direction, India-China talks to be held on July 17. Transgender trainee pilot told to reapply. So guys, basically we have seen this particular article yesterday also, that how the gender discrimination with the transgender people, it is leading to the violation of the Nalsa judgment as well as the Navtej Singh Johar case. So please, if you have not seen, see this particular article in very much detail. We have discussed all these issues. Then after guys, Modi government distances from Rajapakshas. Fine. Quarter 1 new investment projects fall 20.5%. Okay, so investment drop is being discussed here. Now guys, this particular page 12, page number 12 contains some very good articles. The first article, assessing juvenility, a delicate task, Supreme Court. So guys, we'll see this article with respect to the juvenile delinquency. Then India has achieved the clean energy target 9 years before. So we'll see this particular thing under the India's performance under the climate ambitions. Push for wider use of genomics in all the countries. So the WHO has recommended. We'll see this particular thing also. Then the rise and the fall of the Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Nothing important. Then guys, after that, fine. Joe Biden kicks off the West Asia tour in the Israel. Fine. China drives away US ship. Okay, so just the evolving kind of details are there. Okay. Then we come to the business page. Into the business page, India's imports from China rose to a record in first half of 2022. Okay, so we talk about the decoupling from China, but at the same time, our import dependency on China is increasing. Okay, US consumer inflation of USA, fine. June PV sale rise to 19%. Clear guys, keep it in your mind that okay, for example, PMI increasing to this much percent, inflation this month was that, okay, the export increased to this much $1 billion every month. Fine, please don't go into this. Fine, doesn't makes any sense for our exam. Then we have the sports page. Okay, so this is the overview so that you get a peripheral idea that what today's paper looks like and what is important. And now guys, let's discuss the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Now, starting up, so guys, first of all, in our every class, we start with the GS quotation, which could be used in some of your GS paper. So today we'll be taking the quotation from the Kofi Annan, the former United Nations Secretary General. So Kofi Annan says that if corruption is a disease, then the transparency is essential part of its treatment. Okay, so if corruption is a disease, transparency is the treatment. Very good quotation, guys. Even the second ARC report number 4 has provided this particular thing, that in India the corruption is because of two reasons only. Number one, because of the opaqueness, and second, because of the a lot of discretion that is there with the public servants. Now the opaqueness can only be removed by the transparency, and if you remove the opaqueness, transparency, if it comes, obviously it is going to give a very great impact onto the treatment of corruption. Now this particular idea could be used in GS paper number 2, governance, as well as it could be important in GS paper number 4, information sharing. Okay, information sharing, transparency, fine. GS paper number 4, topic number 7. So this is, guys, the today's GS quotation. Okay, please note it down, it is a good one. And now we will be taking the first article. Okay, so the first article we take from the page number 1, which talks about the Global Gender Gap Report 2022, which has just been announced. First of all, where this particular article is going to be important, guys, this particular article, it is going to be important in GS paper number 2, social justice issues related to the women. GS paper number 2, women related issues. Fine. Moreover, guys, even in the prelims also the question could be asked, because into the prelims there are the questions where they ask about certain reports, who releases these reports, etc. Fine. Now let's discuss this particular article. First of all, this Global Gender Gap Report 2022 has been released. Within this Global Gender Gap Report 2022, there is the Global Gender Gap Index that is also released. Now, guys, this Global Gender Gap Index, it ranks the countries onto the basis of the gender gap that is there. Now, what the first of all gender gap means? Now, what this particular gender gap means? Gender gap. See this particular thing, guys. In our society, we have divided the society in the terms of gender. Now when we create gender, we get two classes. One is the men and other is the women. Now keep this particular thing in your mind, that there is a difference between the gender and the sex. Now when we talk about the sex is the biological difference between the people, between the humans, and when the sex is there, we get male and female. And this biological difference is not a problem, but then the second word comes, that is the gender. Now gender, it is a sociological difference, it is a social difference, and when we have gender, we get the men and women. Now when we have the men and women, we ascribe different roles to them, we ascribe different expectations to them. When the men are there, on the men we ascribe that they need to be masculine, and when the women are there, on the women we ascribe that they need to be feminine, Now because men are masculine and the women are feminine, they have the different capabilities, they should do the different type of jobs, different type of responsibilities should be given to them. So when the gender comes, basically the social roles are attributed onto the men because of their masculinity, and on women because of their femininity, and often these roles are discriminatory. What happens? Men are believed that they should be the decision makers, men should be the ones who should take the lead, okay, and at the same time the women, they are into the secondary position, they should be into the houses, okay, they should be the houses, they should not be the decision makers. So what happens? Men have been given more preference, okay, and because of this particular thing, what happens? A kind of a gender gap develops, differential opportunities they are given to men, and often the less opportunities are given to the female. So this gap is measured by this Global Gender Gap Index. By this Global Gender Gap Index, this gap is measured, where the gap is more, where the gap is less. So the countries are given a ranking. Now guys, in this particular year's Global Gender Gap Index, 146 countries were ranked, and out of this 146 countries, India's rank was 135. So our rank is not good. It shows that in India the gender gap is huge. Fine, the men, they are believed to be far more superior than the women. Now you see, if this gender gap is high, it means that the women will not be into the economic sphere, women's participation into the political spheres, etc., will not be there. Is it clear or not? Now, guys, when we talk about this global gender gap index, global gender gap report, who releases it? It is released by the World Economic Forum. It is released by the World Economic Forum. And within this global gender gap index, the gaps are measured onto the four parameters. What are these four parameters? Let's see them one by one. So, four dimensions or four parameters are there. Number one, it is the economic participation and opportunity, where whether the women are being given the economic opportunities, economic participation is there or not. Even, guys, we have seen few days back the periodic labor force survey of 2021, where we have seen that the women participation into the labor force is just 25.1%. Fine, 25.1%, which is less than the half of the men. So obviously economic opportunities are not there. Economic participation of women is less. Second is the educational attainment. Okay, educational attainment, where whether the women are being educated equally on terms with the men or not. So this is the second parameter. Third is the health and survival. Health and survival. And the fourth is the political empowerment. Okay, in the political offices, are they or not? Even, guys, if I give you the data from the 2019 Lok Sabha into the present Lok Sabha, the women participation is around 14%. 78 MPs are the women. So you see that this arena also India is not performing very much good. Now in this particular thing, the countries are given a score from 0 to 100 scale. Okay, and then it is also provided that, okay, how much time a country will be taking to fill this particular gap. Okay, now you see some progress is coming. So how much time it will take to fill that particular gap, this particular I estimate is also given. Now, guys, for the India, it is being said that India will take 132 years to reach the gender parity, to reach the gender equality. 132 years India is going to take. Now, guys, these particular highlights could be used in your answer directly while you are writing an answer onto the women. When you are writing the answer onto the gender gap, directly these references can be used. Now, further moving on, guys, India's comparison with the neighbors. So when we talk about the India's comparison with neighbors, India's performance is not good. Fine, Bangladesh was 71, our neighbor. Okay, Nepal is 96, Sri Lanka is 110, Maldives is 117. Okay, so when comparing to our neighbors, India's status is not good. 135 rank is not appreciable. Only two countries are there which have performed worse than the India, that is the Pakistan at 145 and Afghanistan at 146. And anyhow, these countries are not something with which India can any day be compared. Okay, so this is, guys, about the gender gap index. However, there is one positive thing also that has come. The positive thing is that actually India has recovered since 2021 in economic participation and opportunity. Okay, so this is something that has been there. However, basically the index says one more thing also, that in India, basically in India, the labor force participation has been reduced for both the men as well as the women. So according to the report, the labor force participation for the men has reduced by 9.5% and for the women by 3%. Okay, so this is something that is there. So, guys, this is all the highlights about the global gender gap index report. And guys, I hope that you have understood it, and please just don't read the data. That is not something so much important. You need to know this particular connection, that how the gender gap develops. So gender gap develops when a social binary is created into the society. Biological division, not a problem, it is by nature, but the sociological binary, social division, it leads to the gender differentials, it leads to differential opportunities. Okay, and that differential opportunities creates a gender gap. So this is the connection. This chain link is something that you should be writing in your answers. Now moving to the next article. Okay, so this article reads, India has achieved clean energy target 9 years before the deadline. Okay, so this particular article could be used in our GS paper number 3, environment, ecology, environment, India's climate goals. India's climate goals, or the achievement of India onto the climate, okay, climate change. This is something that is there. Now, first of all, I will not be directly going in this particular article. I will first be explaining you some of a background, and only after knowing that background, you can understand that what this particular article is talking about, what we have achieved. Okay, so just let's keep this particular thing aside for just few minutes. Guys, understand this particular thing, that there is IPCC, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change. Now, Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, it releases its report with respect to the climate change that is happening in the world. So what happened in 2014, IPCC released its fifth assessment report, and in this fifth assessment report, IPCC provided this particular thing that the climate change is real, and the sea level rise is going to happen. Okay, and if the sea level rise will not be stopped, then the island nations will be submerged, the coastal cities, they will be submerged, the cities such as New York, the India is having the 7500 kilometers of coastline. Most of the cities, they will be submerged here. Okay, so basically the IPCC said to the world that you need to do something immediately onto the climate front. What happened then? In 2015, the Paris Climate Summit was held. So Paris Climate Summit was held, and in this Paris Climate Summit, the countries, they took certain targets, and these targets were called as INDC. INDC stands for Intended Nationally Determined Contribution. Again, I'll repeat, Intended Nationally Determined Contribution. Every country took certain targets for them. Is it clear or not? Now guys, in this particular capacity, India also took the target. India took the target that by 2030, 40% of our energy generation, electricity generation, will be from the renewable sources. 40% of electricity will be generating from the renewable sources by 2030. This was the target that was taken. Other targets were also taken by the India. I'll tell you that particular thing. Other targets, one more target was taken, that is to develop 2.5 billion to 3 billion ton of carbon sink. 2.5 billion to 3 billion ton of carbon sink. Okay, around 2.5 to 3 billion ton carbon we should absorb. How we will be absorbing? By planting more trees, by regenerating our forest. One more target India took the target that the carbon emission will be reduced by 33 to 35%. Okay, the carbon intensity will be reduced by, okay, the carbon footprint will be reduced by 33 to 35% on 2005 level. Okay, on 2005 level. By which year? 2030. Don't get confused what it means. Simple, very simple explanation. Whatever carbon emission you were doing in 2005, okay, suppose 100 unit of carbon you were emitting in 2005, so 33 to 35% reduction should be there at 2005 level. If 100 units were there, you need to reduce it to just 65. Okay, so these were the three INDC targets that India took. Now guys, just focus on this first INDC target, that is by 2030 40% of India's energy will be coming from the renewable sources. Now guys, in this particular direction, the government has provided that actually India had already achieved this first target. How? It says that actually today India has 402 gigawatt of installed electricity. We have 402 gigawatt of installed electricity, and out of this 162 gigawatt, okay, this much capacity is coming from the renewable sources. So around 41% of India's electricity is already coming from the renewable sources. So 9 years ahead. Okay, so this target was achieved in 2021. I told you that the original deadline was 2030. So 9 years before that original deadline, we have achieved that target. This is something that has been there. Now guys, India actually, if you are following the newspaper analysis regularly, we have seen that last year India participated in COP26 in the Glasgow. Their Prime Minister has further raised the ambition. Prime Minister had said that now what we'll try to do by 2030, we'll try to install at least 500 gigawatt of electricity by renewable. Right now, how many gigawatt we are having from renewable? Around 162. So even now more enhanced, more ambitious targets we have taken. Is it clear or not? But guys, still it is a kind of an achievement for the India, and such kind of a thing could be used in your answers. Moreover, there are some other things that have been provided. Basically guys, right now we find this thing around the world, there is an energy crisis that is going on. Oil prices are going up. Why this is going up? Because of the Russia-Ukraine war that is going on, because of the cartelization into the fossil fuel industry. What is a cartel? Certain countries which are the major producer of the oil, they have created a kind of a union and they are increasing the prices. So cartelization has happened. It has led to a kind of a crisis where the prices are going up and India is getting impacted. In India, even the inflation is because of the high crude prices into the international market. So guys, it has been said that in this context, even these renewable energies are going to help the country. Okay, if we have our renewable energy sources, okay, we don't need to depend onto the another country for much of the fossil, particularly for the electricity. We don't depend on to them. Okay, if renewable car, if EV vehicles are there, obviously our reliance onto the petrol and diesel will further go down. Okay, so basically guys, these particular cartels will also be broken down with the increasing renewable energy. Moreover, in future there is one more type of fear that can actually come. Okay, one more fear can be there, that see, in future there could be another instance that the cartels could be formed, if who are the manufacturers of the equipments of the renewable energy, they can make the cartel. So in future, to break that cartel, India needs to develop the capabilities in manufacturing of the solar components, of the wind turbines, okay, and all these kind of things. So this is guys a kind of a thing that has been there. And again, I'm saying this particular thing, that just don't read the headline. Okay, you need to read beyond the headline. Okay, so that is about it. Okay, I have one question that come here, sir, should I read the newspaper or not? Fine. Is the Sunday newspaper important for UPSC? See, there are two things. Should you read the newspaper or not? Now, understand, if you are downloading this synoptic notes every day and if you are reading them, okay, so this particular thing, I cover whatever has been there into the newspaper, and additional some more information is there, I do give that also. Is it clear? So actually, if you're reading the synoptic notes, your newspaper reading is happening automatically along with the background and some suggestions that are coming. Okay, so you don't need to worry. Second thing, Sunday newspaper. See this particular thing, guys, that Sunday we don't have text and context. Sunday we don't have editorial page, and Sunday actually in the FAQ page that is important there, the previous week's news, they are just summarized there. Okay, so if you want, you can. However, I'll say that please keep Sunday as a day for revision, because see, 99.9% of aspirants, they just have this particular thing that they are just consuming, but consumption is will be of no use if you don't retain, if you don't revise, because only retention and revision will help you to reproduce that content in the exam. So please keep one day for revision. Okay, you are not going to miss anything at the end of the year, because if there are some issue, it will be repeatedly be coming into the news, and if it has just come on one day, it is not a very important issue. UPSC asks questions on the broader themes, so understand this particular psychology of exam first of all. Fine, which is very important. Now moving to the next article. Assessing juvenility, a delicate task, Supreme Court. So this particular article, guys, we are going to discuss with respect to the GS paper number 2, issues related to the child. It will be coming into the social justice section, and within the child related issues, there is the issue of juvenile delinquency. And within the juvenile delinquency, we'll see this particular article. Now first of all, understand this particular thing, what do we mean by this word juvenile delinquency? Juvenile delinquency means the children, the people below the 18 years of age who have done some crimes, petty crimes, some another type of crimes such as the theft, some violence, etc. So children doing some crimes, we call these children as juvenile delinquents and trying them. Okay, that is the juvenile delinquency. Okay, one more concept I would like to tell you guys here, that see, we read two words. There is one word child and there is another word juvenile. What is the difference between these two words? Child is an individual who is less than the 18 years of age, and juvenile is also a person less than the 18 years of age, but juvenile is a legal term. We use the word juvenile for the children who had come in conflict with the law. Okay, so if a child who is not in conflict with the law, you will not use the word juvenile for him. So this is the difference between juvenile and child. By the way, one more concept I'll tell you guys here, that first of all, when we talk about child, are they really the people who are less than 18 years of age? There is a lot of confusion in this particular thing. Why? Because in India we have the different acts, first of all, which gives the definition of child, but all the acts, they don't have one synchronous definition. I'll give you example. For example, Prohibition of Child Labor Act. According to this particular act, people from 0 to 14 years, they are child. From 14 to 18, they are adolescents. Are you getting it or not? We have then the Juvenile Justice Act. According to Juvenile Justice Act, people between 0 to 16 are the child. From 16 to 18, they could be treated as adult in some certain circumstances. Are you getting it or not? But there is the United Nation Convention onto the Child Rights. United Nation Convention onto the Child Rights. According to it, child has to be a person who is less than 18 years of age. Is it clear? So this is one concept. Please keep it in your mind. Okay. Fine. So first of all, with respect to the definition of a child, different laws mentions the different age. This is something that I want to tell you here. Is it clear? Now coming back to this particular article, what this particular article is. But guys, before that, some more background I would like to tell you so that you can make sense of this particular article more. So background is like this, that guys, actually when the children have committed some crime, to deal with those children, we need to have the specific separate set of laws. In India, we have the Juvenile Justice Act of 2015. Juvenile Justice Act of 2015, which deals with the juveniles, which deals with the children committed some kind of a crime. Now guys, first of all, this Juvenile Justice Act of 2005, it came after amending the Juvenile Justice Act of 2000. So Juvenile Justice Act of 2000 got amended after the Nirbhaya rape case that happened, because in that case it was found that one of an individual who was one of the most violent one, he was a juvenile. Into the earlier Juvenile Justice Act 2000, it was provided that a child less than the 18 years of age can be provided the maximum punishment of 3 years only. Okay, so there was a lot of protest. Then the Justice Verma committee came, and Justice Verma committee recommended that you should amend this act, and we came with the Juvenile Justice Act of 2050, which is in existence right now. Now within this Juvenile Justice Act of 2015, there is one provision that specifically got added after this Nirbhaya rape case. Now what is the provision in this Juvenile Justice Act? First of all, under this particular act, it has been said that the crimes which are being committed by the juveniles, they could be of three types. They say that there are the petty crimes, then they say that there are the serious crimes, and then they say that there could be the heinous crimes. Okay, heinous crimes. Now according to this particular act, if a heinous crime has been committed by a child, and if a child is between the age of 16 to 18 years, then that particular child could be treated as an adult. He could be treated as an adult, and whatever the punishments are there for the adult, those punishments could be given to such juvenile. Is it clear or not? Including the life imprisonment and any such kind of punishment that is there. Such child could even be sent to the normal regular prison also. So this was a new change that came with the Juvenile Justice Act. Again I'll explain. The juvenile who had committed some heinous crime, they could be, and if they are into the age of 16 to 18, they could be treated as adult. Now first of all, what is a heinous crime? Rape leading to death, it is a heinous crime. Okay, murder, it is a heinous crime. So such kind of things, they could be tried. Now guys, basically which child will be treated, basically whether the child will be now who will decide this particular thing? Who will decide this particular thing, that whether a child could be treated into the adult criminal justice system or not? Fine. Who will decide? So therefore the Juvenile Justice Board was constituted, fine, under this particular provision, this particular act. Juvenile Justice Board will decide that whether a child is to be treated into the juvenile system or whether a person is to be treated into the adult system if he had committed a heinous crime. So the Juvenile Justice Board will decide this particular thing. Now guys, over the years there has been a criticism of this entire arrangement. Child right activists, they say this particular thing, that United Nations Convention of Child Rights have said this thing, that every person below the 18 years of age is a child, and what you are doing, you are sending 16 to 18 year people into the adult system. You are not reforming them, because everybody knows that once a person will go into the jail, he will become even more hardened criminal. Okay, so this is wrong. Okay, and many times it was said that Juvenile Justice Board has actually sent the children into the adult system just onto the basis of their IQ test. Now IQ test is different. Okay, basically more important parameter is that whether a person understands the gravity of the crime that he had committed or not. So simply on IQ we cannot say that yes, he understood all the gravity of crime. So Juvenile Justice Board is not working objectively. This was a criticism that has come. And guys, now in this particular context, the Supreme Court judgment now has come. So to make sense of this particular article, this entire background first of all we need to know. Now let's say that what this particular Supreme Court ruling has said. So Supreme Court ruling provided this particular thing. Just a minute. Now, the Supreme Court ruling, what it has provided that first of all, Juvenile Justice Act 2015, it provides that a preliminary assessment could be done and could be found out that whether the mental and physical capacity of a juvenile between the 16 and 18 was such that they could be sent into the adult system. All these things has been provided. Now the Supreme Court has provided this particular thing, that the delicate task of deciding whether the juvenile aged between 16 to 18 accused of heinous offense such as murder can be tried like adult should be based on meticulous psychological investigation. The Supreme Court says that deciding whether he needs to be sent into the adult prison system or not, this thing is to be done on a meticulous psychological investigation and should not be just based on to the discretion of the Juvenile Justice Board. Just should not be based on their subjective wisdom. There needs to be an objective process, because in such a way many of the childs will be subjected to something wrong. This is provided by the Supreme Court. Now Supreme Court had said, therefore we need to determine, it has said that the center government as well as the NCPCR, National Commission for Protection of the Child Rights, NCPCR, as well as the State Commission for Protection of Child Rights, these three bodies, again I'll say center government, NCPCR and the SCPCR. Fine. National Commission for Protection of Child Rights, State Commission of Protection of Child Rights, these three institutions need to determine the guidelines on whose basis it will be decided that whether a individual needs to be sent into the juvenile justice system or into the adult justice system. They had said that a kind of a new board needs to be constituted, which needed to have at least one child psychologist also to determine this thing. Right now the Juvenile Justice Board is not having this child psychologist, so the child injustice should not happen, and therefore new guidelines should be framed. Okay, so guys, again I'll say that Supreme Court has provided new guidelines should be framed for the juvenile delinquency. It is a very delicate task. Just on the subjectivity, on the discretion, this particular thing should not be left. Okay, so guys, these references we can actually use in our answers directly pertaining to the issue of juvenile delinquency. That is all about this article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now this particular article, again taken from the newspaper, Hindu newspaper. What the article reads, first of all, it says that push for wider use of genomics in all the countries. Who says it? WHO. So WHO says that we need to push the wider use of genomics in all the countries. Okay, now guys, this particular article, by the way, is going to be important for GS paper number 2 health. GS paper number 2 health. Okay, now before moving in this particular article, first of all we will be taking some basics so that we can make sense of this article, what it is talking about. Now guys, first of all, here this particular word genomics has been used. So what do we mean by this word genomics? So guys, what is genomics? First of all, what is genome? Before reading genomics, even a more basic thing comes, that what is a genome? So genome, guys, it is the complete set of DNA, complete set of your genetic material. Fine. Now guys, your DNA actually contains your entire blueprint. Okay, the texture of your color, the texture of your color, your body structure, okay, your physical features, fine, it will all be determined by your DNA. Is it clear or not? So there is a genetic material that is contained into the DNA. What is a genome? Genome is the complete genetic material of an individual. It contains complete DNA of an individual. This is genome. Now guys, your genome is contained in the cells of your body. Fine. Almost every cell in the body, it contains a complete copy of every individual genome. What is a genome? Genome contains all the information needed for a person to develop and grow. It's all information is there. Now guys, then the next comes is a genomics. What is genomics? Now genomics, basically it studies the human genetic material. Genomics is the branch of science which studies the human genome, and by studying the human genome, it tries to understand the different medical conditions, the diseases, okay, their growth patterns. Now understand this particular thing. Sometimes certain people have certain hereditary diseases. Okay, from where they are getting that hereditary diseases? Within their genome there is some kind of aberration. Within their genome there is a kind of a issue that is there, because of that hereditary disease is being transferred. So the genomics is a science which study a human genome, and by studying the human genome it tries to understand the cures, it tries to understand the different treatments that could be there, medical conditions that could be there, diseases that could be there. Now guys, understand this particular thing, that if we understand the human genome, then there could be even the gene editing that could be carried, and by editing your genes, okay, from your DNA there could be certain hereditary diseases that could be removed. Okay, so to study genome we need to have genomics. Okay, now guys, what had happened, WHO recently constituted a science council of expert was constituted by WHO. This science council of experts was given a task that, okay, you tell that how so much of the diseases could be reduced. Okay, and this science council of expert has provided that we should need to work on the genomics. It has identified genomics in its first report. It says that first of all, around the world we need to expand the access of genomic technologies. Okay, understand this particular thing guys, that there are the poor countries, there are the African countries, there are the sub-Saharan Africa, Latin American countries. They don't have the scientific capability to carry the genomics project. They don't have that scientific ability, they don't even have the monetary ability to carry this genomics study. Fine, so therefore the WHO provides that we need to expand the accessibility of the genomics technology. The middle income countries, they needed to be given the lab infrastructure, they needed to be given materials, they needed to be given a trained personnel, so that in their countries they can study human genomes, they can carry the genomics and can identify many of the diseases and their potential treatments that are there. So therefore now even the ethical justification has been given. It has been said that we need to bring equity in the genomics access. Rich countries, they have carried their genome projects. Rich countries, they have very well developed genomic sciences where they are studying human genes, but poor countries don't have this particular thing. So basically the WHO reports, it says that basically it has focused on to the four themes. Number one is advocacy of to the genomic science. Second is the implementation of genomics project into the countries, collaboration with the poor countries if they don't have capability, and associated ethical, legal and social issues. Guys, understand this particular thing. When the genomics will be taken up, the study of the human genes will be taken up, there will be ethical challenges that will also come. What can happen? Actually, for example, let's say there is a minority. Okay, this now basically the social profiling can happen. Okay, you can discriminate between the people, that okay, up till now we were discriminating, that we were saying that okay, some class is inferior to other class, these discriminations were being done, but there was no scientific basis. Now when the genome differences will be studied, even a scientific justification will be given for the discrimination. Okay, so social profiling can happen. So this is an ethical challenge that will come into the genomic, that is also needed to be taken care of. Now guys, this is all what has been contained into this article. Now let's take some additional information which could be important for our exam. Guys, when we talk about the genomics, fine, Indian government has recently approved the Genome India project. Now what is this Genome India project? Into the Genome India project, we will develop an Indian reference genome. Okay, so we will be taking the samples throughout the India, different people, different caste, different religion, different races. We will be taking a sample and a human reference genome we will be developing. Okay, a reference genome of India will be developed. Is it clear or not? Fine, this will be a representative India genome. 10,000 more samples will be taken into the first phase. By this we will try to identify it, we will try to understand some of the genetic diseases which actually exist in India, what could be done in that particular direction. So this Genome India project has been taken. Now guys, this Genome India project actually got inspired from the Human Genome Project. Now Human Genome Project was taken between 1990 to 2003, and it was an international program which wanted to develop a world reference genome. A world reference genome it wanted to develop. But guys, this Human Genome Project has been criticized a lot. Why? Because into this Human Genome Project, 95% of the samples that were taken were from the urban middle class white people. Black people, minority people, lower class people were not represented in this Human Genome Project. So Indian Genome Project says that no, we will be making sure that it is inclusive, it is having the reference from all the communities, then only we can make up truly representative reference genome of India. So guys, I hope that what is genome, what is genomics, how genomics can help in health, what are the implications, ethical implications of genomics, you understood it. So that is all about it. And now guys, we'll be moving to the next article. Okay, this article reads, scale up the India South Korea bilateral partnership. So this article will be seeing with respect to the GS paper number 2, international relations, bilateral relations. International relations, bilateral relations. Now, okay, so what this particular article is talking about, guys, this article talks about that we need to focus on the India South Korea bilateral relation. Article says that the South Korea could become the fourth pillar of New Delhi's Indo-Pacific strategy. Now guys, understand first of all that when we talk about the India's Indo-Pacific strategy, who are the other three pillars? Who are the other three pillars? So we have in this particular direction, Australia is there, fine, Vietnam is there, Japan is there. So Australia, Vietnam and Japan, these are the three pillars of India's Indo-Pacific strategy. Again, I'll tell you, these are the three pillars of India's Indo-Pacific strategy. And who could be the fourth pillar now? Fourth pillar could be the South Korea. Is it clear or not? Now guys, one more difference I would like to tell you here, first of all, for the conceptual clarity. When you talk about the USA's, when we talk about the USA's Indo-Pacific policies, USA's Indo-Pacific policies, for that, who are the major pillars? For the USA, the major pillar are the Japan, it is India, and it is Australia. And USA is collaborating with these three countries under the quadrilateral security dialogue. In quadrilateral security dialogue, we know there are the four countries, USA is there, Japan is there, India is there, Australia is there. So for USA, these are the three countries who are the part of their Indo-Pacific strategy. For India's Indo-Pacific strategy, we have right now the three countries, Australia, Vietnam, Japan. And the fourth one could be South Korea. This is being proposed in this particular article, first of all. Okay, I hope that this basic thing you have understood now. And now let's discuss that what this article is actually talking about. Now guys, first of all, the article says that international rule-based order is getting increasingly contested. What is happening right now? Now guys, again we see that a type of a Cold War type of a situation is developing. The world is getting fragmented. The world is getting divided into the camps. On one side we have USA, on another side we have the China and the Russia. And now again the countries, they are trying to divide the opinion. Okay, they want more and more partners. So there is a contest, increasing contestation that is coming into the international rule-based orders. Okay, the options that are available to the government into the foreign, economic, security areas, fine, they are under serious stress. Fine, why? Because you need to take one side or the other side. Is it clear or not? Fine. Earlier India could be could at the same time could be towards the Russia, could be at the USA, but now these options are getting limited. However guys, one more concept I will tell you. India simply says that we are never going to take any side. Why? Because India says that now our foreign policy is driven by a new pillar, that is the strategic autonomy. Strategic autonomy. So present Minister of External Affairs, he has made this particular word very popular. What strategic autonomy means? It means that India is going to take side as per their own convenience. But anyhow, into the international arena, the options are reducing. In this particular context, the article says that today South Korea is an important partner. According to the article, South Korea could be a global pivotal state. South Korea is driven by, first of all, the liberal values of freedom, peace, prosperity, fine, and basically liberalism, etc. Now the South Korea could play a very active role into the regional affairs, into the regional matters. Okay, and India needs to leverage its relation with the South Korea. Is it clear or not? Guys, it is being provided that first of all, when we talk about the India and the South Korea, the relations between the two countries have faced serious blockades. Much progress was not there. There are no major serious South Korean investments coming into the India into the past few years, but India and South Korea are now trying to work as how they can leverage their partnership, how they can enhance their partnership, and into this particular capacity, both countries are trying to sign the CEPA, that is the Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. This part agreement will try to to enhance the bilateral trade between the India and South Korea, and the aim is that the trade will be increased to $50 billion by 2030. And understand this particular thing, that the economic relation will lay the foundation for the strategic relations. Keep in mind, economic relations will lay down the foundation for the strategic relations. So first, every country builds the economic relation with the other partner. Now, what is the importance of such kind of an step where we are trying to sign the CEPA? So guys, the importance will be that there could be the new convergences that can come between the India and South Korea. Both can help each other. Convergences, cooperation between for the public health could be there. We see the pandemic. Okay, so public health cooperation could be there. Green growth, okay, digital connectivity, trade, there they can cooperate. Fine. However, in 2020, some steps have already been taken also. In 2020, the India and South Korea, they signed the roadmap for defense industries cooperation. Okay, defense industries cooperation, where into the defense sector the investments, knowledge sharing, information sharing was to be there. But however, nothing much had happened in this particular direction. Okay, but now we are hopeful that we will be working in this particular thing. Now understand this thing, that guys, actually the South Korea's defense orientation is now shifting. Okay, now South Korea wants more and more partners with which it can cooperate. Is it clear or not? Even guys, the Japan, it is shifting, and it was trying to revise its pacifist constitution. Japan was also focusing on defense resilience. South Korea is also focusing on this particular thing. Now it has been provided that basically the South Korea's participation into the defense sector, into the maritime sector with the India could be enhanced with some more suggestions. For example, the South Korea could participate into the exercises such as the Malabar, exercises with the Quad countries, and first of all, by bringing South Korea to participate into these initiatives, we can leverage South Korea towards the side of India. Now understand that guys, India has already evolved excellent relations with the Japan, Vietnam, Australia, but South Korea, we have not done the same thing. As I told you that India's Indo-Pacific strategy has three pillars: Japan, Australia, Vietnam. South Korea could be the fourth one if we can cooperate onto the defense and economic terms. Now, why there is the need to bring South Korea, and why South Korea needs India? Guys, understand some very, very important reasons. Number one, in the USA, Republicans, they are becoming more powerful, and the previous president of USA, Donald Trump, he belonged to the Republican camp. If Republicans will become more stronger, they can bring the Donald Trump as the next president into the USA. And if the Donald Trump becomes the next president of the USA, there will be the implication on South Korea front. How? Because Donald Trump has already provided that why we have stationed so much of the US troops into the South Korea. Guys, understand this thing, that North Korea and the South Korea, between them, the boundary between the North Korea and the South Korea, it is called as DMZ, demilitarized zone. Now this particular boundary actually is world's heaviest guarded boundary. Okay, and a large number of US troops are stationed here. Donald Trump wants to remove these troops from this particular boundary, and the moment this particular thing will happen, what will happen? The North Korea will become emboldened. North Korea might try to intrude in the South Korea, and it will create some regional tensions. So in this particular thing, we need to support South Korea. Okay, sorry, it was a mistake. We need to support the South Korea. We need to cooperate with the South Korea. Fine, relations need to be made with South Korea before such kind of thing happens. Next thing that comes here is that, guys, basically I already told you, North Korea conducts more missile tests, nuclear tests. Fine, it might lead to regional tensions. Now next thing is that recently the South Korea was actually forced to sign no agreement. Now what is the no agreement? It is the 3 no agreement that the South Korea signed with the China. In this 3 no agreement, South Korea agreed that first of all, they will not install the third. What is this third? Third is the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense Network. Third, it is the Terminal High Altitude Area Defense System. Now it is an anti-missile system. Is it clear or not? You might have heard about the S-400 Triumph, that is a anti-missile system developed by the Russia. So the third is the USA's anti-missile system that is there. Now guys, if the third will be deployed into the South Korea, and South Korea is very much near to the China says that it will lead to some problems, don't install that. Korea agreed. Second no agreement was that no participation in the USA's missile defense network, and third is that no establishment of a trilateral military alliance with the USA and Japan. So we see the AUKUS was a trilateral military arrangement between the Australia, UK and USA. China said to South Korea, you will not make any military alliance with the US, Japan. So no. See, three no agreement have been there. Now in this particular thing, you see that the sovereignty of the South Korea is getting compromised. Tomorrow China can exert even more such conditions onto the South Korea. India can help in this particular context. So basically, India and South Korea both can withstand the Chinese pressure together, North Korean pressure together. Moreover, South Korea and India can enhance the bilateral relationships, okay, onto the economy, diplomacy, onto the security, and it will be a win-win situation for both. Okay, and guys, South Korea, you know, it is a leader in critical technologies. Now what is the world that is coming? This is the world of fourth industrial revolution, world of internet of things. Here we need to develop our cyber capabilities, and who can help us in developing cyber capabilities? South Korea, because it is a leader in the critical technologies. So this is something that is there. Okay, so this is, guys, the entire article. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. The president is not a mere rubber stamp. So guys, this article can be seen with respect to the GS paper number 2 polity. GS paper number 2 polity, presidential elections which will be conducted. Now the article, guys, it is saying that first of all, when we talk about the president of India, president many times have been called just as a ceremonial position. It has been called as a rubber stamp, but that is not true. Okay, so first of all, let's see some of the basics. First of all, guys, when we talk about the president, for the president, now president is the president is the nominal head of the India, not the real head, nominal head of the India. The elections for the president, they happen through an indirect election. Indirect elections are there for the presidents. There is article number 53, first of all, which is there. Article 53 says that the executive power of the union shall be vested into the president and shall be exercised by him either directly or through the officers subordinate to him. Actually, the president exercises all its power only through the aid and advice of the council of minister. Okay, real head is the prime minister. Article 53, however, vests the executive power into the office of the president. Guys, exactly on this particular point, already a question has been asked into the prelims examination. Now guys, basically Article 54 provides that the president's election, president will be elected by the electoral college. In this electoral college, who will vote? There will be the elected members of both the houses of parliament that will be voting. So the elected members, keep in mind the word elected member of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha will participate, and elected members of the state and union territories assemblies are going to participate. Is it clear? Now guys, basically when we talk about the MLAs, okay, we see that elected members of the state assemblies are also going to be participating. It means the MLAs are also going to participate into the election of the president. Now when we talk about the vote or value of the MLAs vote, it is derived by one particular formula. How? See, basically suppose an MLA is from the Uttar Pradesh. Okay, an MLA is from the Uttar Pradesh. Let's say he is from Uttar Pradesh. Within the Uttar Pradesh, he is from Azamgarh. Okay, now how the value of this particular MLA of Azamgarh of Uttar Pradesh will be derived? So there is a formula that we used, that is the total population of a state. It means total population of Uttar Pradesh, total members of elected members in the state legislative assembly, total number of MLAs into the UPSLA. Fine. So first of all, total population of a state, then divided by the total number of MLAs in that particular state, multiplied by 1/1000. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that first of all, population of a state, it is that population which was derived in 1971 census. Okay, 91 census. 84th Constitutional Amendment Act has frozen that the population of a state will be of 1971 census only. Now the new census will be done. So in 2026 we might revise it, but as of now 1971 census value is taken up. Now see, anyhow the population's representation is being taken up. So guys, you see, even though the election of president are indirect, but as the population's representation is taken, so you cannot say that completely president is just a rubber stamp. He has the representation of people, so therefore there is a moral authority of president that is also there. He is not just a rubber stamp. So therefore president sometimes can go beyond this role of a rubber stamp and can disagree with the council of minister, can warn them, can caution them, can counsel them, advise them if they are taking some wrong decision. You guys know this particular thing. See, at the end of the day, see some, let's say some recommendation is given to the president by the council of minister. The president if wants can refuse that particular recommendation and can ask the council of minister that please reconsider your decision. However, if second time they will give their decision back, then the president is bound, he has to listen to whatever the council of minister and the prime minister are saying. But at least for one time he can return that particular recommendation. And guys, returning this particular thing for one time, it has a lot of symbolic role. Okay, symbolically it is a big thing. So even such kind of a symbolism should be shown by the president. He should disagree at least for the one time. Now guys, it has been provided that the constitution itself want president to be vigilant. Only therefore he has been given a power that he can refuse. Moreover guys, when the president's oath is seen, it contains two promises. Promise number one, that the president shall preserve and protect the constitution of India. Second is that the president shall devote himself or herself to the service and the well-being of the people of India. So therefore, if president finds that the council of minister or the prime minister are not actually protecting in spirit as well as letter the constitution, he may disagree. And if he finds that people's well-being is ignored, then also he can disagree. This is something that will be there. And there are some great presidents in the past that have done that thing. For example, Rajendra Prasad ji, then Shri Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan ji. Okay, they have differed on certain instances with the government, and still they are the great presidents of India. So it is possible for the president to disagree with the government, and therefore the president should not just be a rubber stamp, should go beyond this particular role. This is something that has been provided in this entire article. I hope you have understood. So one dimension we learn here, and now we'll be moving to the next article. Diminishing demographic dividend. Now guys, this is a pictographic that we have taken from the newspaper, diminishing demographic dividend. What first of all demographic dividend means in very simple terms? Demographic dividend, guys, when a country's young population will increase, that young population will be economically productive, and because of that thing a country will achieve a dividend, country will have a benefit, and that benefit we call as a demographic dividend benefit. This particular article however says that now after some years India's population will age. Aging population of India is going to get increased. So therefore we just need not to bother about the demographic dividend, we also need to bother about the growing population, aging population. Fine. So there are some data that have been provided in this particular direction. First of all guys, here in this particular first graph, it is being provided that what will be the percentage share of population of India, okay, as the years will increase. So guys, you can see basically, see this particular blue line, it is the line representing the 65 plus years of people. So basically you can see that since 2020 the number of people who are the 65 plus years of age, it is going up. Okay, and guys, their number is going to be huge by the year 2100. So by year 2100 their number is going to be around 30%, which is very much huge. So guys, as our population will grow old, we need to make sure that they have social security benefits, they have some health insurance and all such kind of benefits. So over the years our old population number is also going to go up around 30% or more, around 2100. Okay, then the next is guys the dependency ratio. So the dependency ratio in 2052 and the dependency ratio in 2022 has been compared. Now guys, when we see right now, okay, the dependency ratio is nearly 45%. Here is India. Okay, it is going to be around 50% by 2052. So dependency ratio from 45% to 50% is going to increase. So as the number of dependent are going to increase, that is also certain things for which India need to make some arrangement. Guys, what is a dependency ratio? Number of people less than the 15 years of age, they are dependent because they are the children, and number of people who are above the 65 years of age, they are so much old, they cannot work, they are also dependent. So the dependency ratio is also going to increase. Right now around 45% people are dependent, it will increase to 50% by 2052. Okay, and then guys, the next fine state specific data you don't need to see. Then guys, it is being provided that the pensions versus health expenses. Okay, so basically this particular article provides that the percentage the percentage of elderly people who are receiving the age pensions, okay, so their number is being provided. So here just you can see that around around 20 to 23% people are receiving the pensions, which is very much less. Are you getting? Out of pocket expenditure as a percentage of current health expenditure. Now, what is out of pocket expenditure? That expenditure for which a person did not had money, he brought money by selling some land, by selling some gold. So out of pocket expenditure is also very much high. And when we see the out of pocket expenditure, we find this particular thing, that out of pocket expenditure is around 55% right now in India. There are some other estimates given by WHO which puts it to 62% also. 55% out of pocket expenditure, it is a huge. Fine. So out of pocket expenditure is presently high. People receiving pension, it is presently very less, just about 20% or 22 23%. So we need to work on this particular aspect also. So we need to take care of our old population that is going to get increased. So this is all that we got to know in this particular article. So guys, these are the articles in the today's newspaper which have some academic substance on which a question could be framed in your exam. Guys, keep this particular thing in your mind, that you need to be highly selective while reading the newspaper. You cannot simply read the junk stuff. You cannot simply read the substandard stuff, because it is just unnecessarily be taking space in your notebooks, in your brain. You are not going to use it. So you need to be very careful, very selective. This is the first difference which is between a good aspirant and between a average aspirant. So be more wise, be more intelligent day by day. This is something which I want you to be. Okay, so that is all guys in the today's newspaper. I hope that you understood all these things. That is all. Now we'll be meeting tomorrow. Till then guys, please take care of yourselves. And by the way, if you don't know, we stream live every day around 6 a.m. Okay, so it is 6 a.m. or 6:15 a.m. Okay, so we'll be meeting you tomorrow. And guys, please do download this PDF from the Telegram channel, and please do join our Telegram channel also for all these updates. Thank you so much.